My budget video rig for YouTube.
Hello all my creative friends on YouTube. Hopefully you're all having amazing creative days doing what you love to do. Today we're going to be talking about my budget-friendly YouTube video rig setup. So if you're looking to take your video production game and your YouTube production game to the next level, even a modest video rig setup will help you take things to the next level. Welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about this budget-friendly YouTube video rig setup that's been helping me produce better YouTube videos. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down this rig into its individual components, and we're going to talk about each component. And yeah, we're going to go through it like that. So hopefully you learn a little something through this video. All right, let's get started.
SmallRig camera cage, part number 2982.
Okay, so first things first, we're going to talk about the cage. Not that cage, this cage. This is a camera cage right here. So depending on the camera that you use, there's going to be a cage out there for you. So if you're using an A6500, you're using let's say a Sony A7 III, you're using a Lumix, a Canon, whatever the case may be, there's a cage out there for you. This is a SmallRig cage, solid aluminum build. As you can see, there's a lot of screw holes on here, mounting points, so you can mount handles or lights or whatever, arms, things, clamps, whatever you need, you can mount onto this cage. And the cool thing with this cage is at the bottom here, this plate is actually an Arca Swiss compatible plate. So if you have a tripod with an Arca Swiss head on there, you can just put the cage right onto that tripod and clamp it on. No need to put a mounting plate and all that other stuff on there. So that's super handy, which is nice. The cage also comes with this little multi-tool. It's got an Allen key on one end and the flat end for screwing the screw in here. And it's got a nice little magnetic port. So you can put the multi-tool back into the cage and it doesn't fall off, which is nice. So the magnets are pretty strong. Another thing I really like about this cage is the fact that it has a NATO rail, which allows me to clamp a handle on there. And because it's a NATO rail system, it's a quick release system. So the handle can clamp on and you can take it off nice and easy, as opposed to having a handle that you have to screw into each one of these threads. For me, that's a huge bonus. Plus on the bottom here, where you would put a tripod plate, there are a bunch of different mounting options, which make that super handy. Now, the benefit to using a cage on the camera is it adds a cold shoe mount. So the difference between a cold shoe and a hot shoe is a hot shoe has an electrical current that goes through it. So if you put a flash on top of your camera, the flash and the camera can communicate. A cold shoe mount, on the other hand, there is no current. It's just a mount and that's it. So that's the difference between a hot and a cold shoe mount. So now you know. And the cage adds one cold shoe mount, which is great. So if you want to put a mic here, you can put a shotgun mic here, you can put a light here, or lavalier mics, or a monitor or something like that. So that's pretty cool.
SmallRig cold shoe mount adapter, part number 1241.
Okay, so this is pretty cool. This is a cold shoe mount adapter, pretty tiny, and it's basically a cold shoe mount with a screw hole in the middle. And what you can do is attach it to any one of these screw mount points on your rig. So if you want a cold shoe mount on the side, you can add one on the side, you can add one to the right side, you can add one in the middle. Yeah, you can add one underneath too if you want. There's screws underneath. So that's a handy little thing if you just want one more additional mount on your cage.
SmallRig top handle grip for NATO rail, part number HTN2439.
Alright, so this is a handle with a NATO rail. Now, this is a SmallRig handle, and there are a bunch of different companies out there that make handles, and even SmallRig makes different types of handles. There's a variety of different handles for different uses. This is a pretty basic handle. This is the one I went with. It's got the NATO rail at the bottom, so it attaches to the camera like so. And there you go. So now you have a handle on your camera. And the advantage to a handle, in my opinion, there's two. One is that you can hold the camera by the handle and you can do a lot more interesting movements. Like you can hold a camera like this with two hands and you can move it up and down and back and forth, and you know, people who do it well can do it well, but I find that with a handle you can get nice and low to the ground, you can pan up, pan down, turn, and it feels a lot smoother. The other nice thing with the handle is this one in particular has 3 cold shoe mounts, so we got 1, 2, and 3. For me, I like having the monitor up top, which is why I went with this handle, so I can mount the monitor up here, and then I put my lavalier mic here at the back if necessary. Depending on what I'm filming, I can move it around to any one of the cold shoe mounts, which is great. For those of you who are shooting with the Canon R5 or R6, I just want to say that I made a video recently about this cage and this handle and their compatibility with the camera, because I have noticed that this handle and this cage do scratch up the top of my camera, and that's unfortunate. Made a video about it there if you want to go check it out. So if you're an R5 or 6 user, I suggest you watch that video after you watch this one. Okay, before we move on, just one thing. After I posted this video on YouTube, SmallRig reached out to me just about immediately, a couple hours after I posted it, and they wanted to know the information, the part numbers, where I got the stuff, all that kind of stuff, and they said they were going to troubleshoot the issue. So kudos to SmallRig for reaching out immediately to find out what the problem was, and hopefully they find a solution to it. If they get back to me with a solution, or you know, update me with anything, I'm going to put it down in the description below. So if you're interested in these products and you have an R5 and R6, check the description below for any updates. And yeah, now let's move on to the field monitor.
Neewer F100 7-inch field monitor.
Alright, so this is my field monitor of choice for my budget rig. It comes with a nice Velcro lens hood there, so that's nice if you're shooting outside in bright daylight. Nice 7-inch display is the main reason why I got this monitor. It's got 4 programmable buttons, a very easy to navigate menu, full-size HDMI input, and it doesn't come with this HDMI cable, but it does come with this bracket here, which allows you to hold the HDMI cable in place so it doesn't accidentally slip out. It also prevents the HDMI cable from breaking at the connector, but as they sometimes do. Now this monitor also has audio video input, it has headphones, it also has a power input, so if you want to plug it into the wall for longer run times. Me personally, I use batteries. This is one of those Sony FP batteries. I bought a 2-pack of those. If you want to watch the video on that, there it is. I find that this monitor tends to chew up batteries. Even with this big one here, it lasts about what, 2.5 to 3 hours before it runs out. So I bought a 2-pack of these batteries. So one of the main reasons I bought this monitor is because it's got a nice 7-inch display. It's a larger monitor, and the reason I like that is if I'm shooting with an 85mm lens or 135mm lens and I have this mounted on top of my camera at a distance, I can still see the monitor as opposed to this tiny little monitor on the back of the camera. Now the other disadvantage the camera has is that the ports are on this side where the monitor pops out, so when the ports have plugs in them, it blocks the view of the monitor. So that's a little unfortunate.
Snowkids 4K 60Hz HDMI to micro HDMI cord.
Now, when it came to finding the right HDMI cable for my rig, I wanted something that was braided and tough and had a nice strong texture to it, something that wouldn't break. And this R5 that I'm filming with has a micro HDMI port, which absolutely sucks from what I hear. I haven't had any issues with it, but from what I hear from people, the cables will actually break and snap. So I was looking for a nice robust cable for this setup. And this cable, I haven't had any connectivity issues with it in a year, but recently this metal sheath on the front came loose, comes right off, but that's nothing that can't be fixed with a little bit of glue. So yeah, I'm gonna say I'm happy with this cable. I'll give it a thumbs up. This is just a little bit of quality control issue, but it's really built tough and robust, and no issues so far, so I'm happy with this. And when I set this up with my camera, what I do is I loop it around the lens and then plug it into the port. So there's a lot of slack on here. Nothing is tight, nothing's gonna pull, nothing's gonna bend, and that's my concern. I don't want to deal with micro HDMI problems. So yeah, that's the cable.
Comica CVM-WM200 wireless lavalier microphones.
Alright, so these are the lavalier mics that I use for my YouTube videos, and I can't complain. For a budget mic set, they're pretty good. They've served me well for the last 2.5 years, I would say. And the sound quality is decent. And at the time I bought these were a great value for money considering what you got compared to the professional lav systems out there. But since I got these mics, a lot of new products have hit the market. So I wouldn't really say that I 100% recommend these, because there's other options out there at a good price that are probably better than this. You have the Rode Video or Rode Go lav set. They have a Go 2, and there's a ton of spin-off products now that are just smaller, tighter, more compact, and you know, no antennas sticking out and all this craziness. So if you find these at a good price, I would definitely recommend them. They've served me well. I am not looking to replace these by any means, but there are other products on the market right now that are smaller. So when you set up your video rig, you know, on your handheld running and gunning, you don't have such a big little, you know, big thing attached to your video rig. Obviously those Rode Video Go 2 is just like a little tiny receiver. So let me attach this. Usually if I'm filming YouTube stuff, I'll just have this snapped onto the back like this, and then this is on the tripod like that, and I'm just filming myself. You don't necessarily have to use a wireless lav system. You can also use a shotgun mic. You can take this monitor, you can mount it further back, and you can mount a shotgun mic here, or you can put a small shotgun mic here in this cold shoe, or you can use that little cold shoe adapter and mount it anywhere you want. So you can use a shotgun mic, which is what I'm filming this video with right now because my lavs are on display here. But the advantage of using a wireless lav system is that you can set up the microphone under your shirt or clip it to your shirt, and you can walk away from the camera, get closer to the camera, and it's not going to make a difference. If I get up right now and walk about 5-10 feet behind me, because I'm using a shotgun mic, my voice is going to be a lot quieter. Whereas if you have a lav system, it's on your chest, and it's always on your chest no matter where you go. So you have the freedom of getting away from your camera and talking from the other side of the room if you want. So that's why I went with the lav system.
Depending on how you want to build out your video rig, the price may vary. Product links in description.
Okay, if you want to follow me on social media, here's my Twitter and Instagram links. You can click on them, check me out down below. And that is the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this little tour of this budget video rig setup for YouTube, and hopefully it helps you get your YouTube journey going or answers any questions you might have about setting up your own budget rig. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. I get back to everyone who leaves a comment, so thank you very much in advance for leaving a comment. Really appreciate it. And if you like this kind of stuff, definitely give it a thumbs up. And with that being said, this video is over. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Next video, this setup will be behind the camera, and I'll be filming myself with this setup. And I look forward to getting back to this so I can see myself on the monitor. All right, see you guys in the next one.